I'm Louie, 37 years old, and I never thought my daughter's greatest achievement would become the breaking point in my family. When Jennifer called to tell me she'd be valedictorian, my heart swelled with pride. Then my parents called, asking me not to celebrate because my nephew Tyler deserved the spotlight for making the football team. That night, I finally walked away from years of favoritism. What I didn't expect was how that decision would completely transform our lives. Before I continue this story, let me know where you're watching from in the comments. If you've ever had to choose between family loyalty and standing up for what's right, hit subscribe because this journey might just give you the courage you need. Growing up in a middle-class neighborhood in Brookfield, Massachusetts, I always felt like I was living in a shadow. My brother Marcus was 3 years older than me, and from my earliest memories, it seemed like my parents had already decided who their favorite son was. Marcus was the charming one, the athletic one, the son who could light up a room just by walking in. He was quarterback of our high school football team, dated the most popular girls, and had this natural charisma that made everyone gravitate toward him. I was different, quieter, more analytical, the kind of kid who'd rather solve math problems or read books than throw a football. "Louie, why can't you be more like your brother?" became a refrain I heard throughout my childhood. When Marcus won football games, my parents would throw parties for him, inviting the whole neighborhood. When I won the state science fair in 10th grade, they managed a quick good job before asking if I'd seen Marcus's new trophy. It wasn't that they were cruel parents. They provided for both of us, made sure we had good educations, and in their way, I think they loved us both. But the difference in their enthusiasm, their pride, their attention was impossible to ignore. "Your brother just has that special something," my mother would say when she thought I couldn't hear. My father was more direct. "Marcus is going places, that boy. Natural leader. College was my escape." I earned a scholarship to MIT for computer science, and suddenly, I was in a world where my skills and interests were valued. That's where I met Amanda during sophomore year. She was studying graphic design, and we met in a digital arts elective I'd taken to round out my technical education. Amanda was the first person who seemed to see me completely, not as Marcus's little brother, not as the smart but boring one, but just as Louie. When I told her about my family dynamics over coffee on our third date, she looked genuinely confused. "But you're amazing," she said. "How could they not see that?" We married right after graduation. My parents attended the wedding, of course, but their speech was mostly about how surprised they were that I'd settled down first, and jokes about how Marcus was too busy enjoying the single life. When Amanda told me she was pregnant 2 years later, it was the happiest moment of my life. Jennifer was born on a rainy April morning, and when I held her for the first time, I made a silent promise that she would never question her worth the way I had. My parents came to the hospital, brought a small teddy bear, stayed for 30 minutes, and left. My mother called 3 times that week to ask if we'd heard from Marcus, who was traveling in Europe at the time. 2 years later, Marcus's wife Sophia gave birth to Tyler. My parents drove 6 hours to be at the hospital, stayed for a week to help, and my father even took 2 weeks off work. My mother created a custom baby book with gold lettering. "Our first grandson," she cooed, apparently forgetting that they already had a grandchild. The pattern continued as the kids grew up. Every Christmas, Tyler's pile of presents was noticeably larger. When Jennifer learned to read at 4, my mother said, "That's nice, but children should focus more on playing." When Tyler learned to catch a ball at 3, my father called everyone we knew. Despite this, or perhaps because of it, I threw myself into being the best father I could be. I read to Jennifer every night, coached her science fair projects, attended every school event. Amanda and I created a home environment where achievement was celebrated, kindness was valued, and Jennifer knew without question that she was loved. Professionally, I built a successful career in software development, eventually becoming a senior architect at a major tech company. Marcus, meanwhile, bounced between jobs. He'd start something with great enthusiasm, my parents would tell everyone about his exciting new venture, and within a year, he'd be looking for the next opportunity. My parents always had excuses ready. The economy, bad business partners, Marcus being too innovative for conventional companies. With each passing year, the contrast between our lives grew more pronounced. Amanda's design business took off. We bought a comfortable home in a good school district. Jennifer excelled in every subject and joined multiple extracurricular activities. Marcus and Sophia struggled financially, often borrowing money from my parents. Tyler was a good kid but struggled academically, though he showed promise in sports like his father. None of this affected how my parents distributed their attention and affection. If anything, the pattern became more entrenched, but I'd learned to accept it, or at least not let it bother me as much. I had built my own life, my own family. I didn't need their approval anymore, or so I thought, until that phone call about Jennifer's graduation changed everything. The call came on a Thursday afternoon in May. I was in my home office, wrapping up a video meeting with my team when my phone lit up with Jennifer's smiling face on the screen. I quickly ended the meeting and picked up. "Dad." Her voice was breathless with excitement. "I just got called to the principal's office." My heart did that instinctive parental skip. "Everything okay?" "More than okay. They just told me I'm going to be valedictorian. I got the highest GPA in the whole graduating class." The pride that surged through me was overwhelming. Jennifer had worked incredibly hard throughout high school, taking every advanced placement course available, staying up late studying, pursuing her passion for science and mathematics with a dedication that amazed me. "That's incredible, sweetheart. I'm so proud of you I can barely speak." "Mom already knows. She screamed so loud I think the neighbors heard." Jennifer laughed. "Can we celebrate tonight? Maybe that Italian place downtown?" "Are you kidding? We're not just doing dinner. This calls for a proper celebration. Your mom and I will plan something amazing." After hanging up, I immediately called Amanda, and we spent 30 minutes excitedly planning a graduation party. Jennifer deserved to be celebrated in style. We'd rent a venue, invite her friends, Amanda's family, my colleagues who'd watched Jennifer grow up through stories and photos on my desk. This would be special. Then, almost as an afterthought, I called my parents. Despite everything, they were Jennifer's grandparents, and this was a milestone achievement. They should be part of it. My mother answered on the fourth ring. "Hello? Mom, it's Louie. I have amazing news about Jennifer." "Oh, hello, dear. What's that?" I noticed immediately that her voice lacked the warmth and excitement it would have had if I'd been calling about Tyler. Still, I pushed forward enthusiastically. "Jennifer just found out she's going to be valedictorian of her class. Top student in her entire school." There was a pause, then a polite, "That's nice, dear. She's always been good at school, hasn't she?" The deflation was instant but familiar. "Yes, Mom, she has. We're planning a big celebration for her. We'd love for you and Dad to come. I'll send you the details once we've figured everything out." Another pause. "Oh, well, about that. Did Marcus call you?" "No. Why would Marcus call me about Jennifer's graduation?" "Well, it's Tyler, you see. He just made the football team. The coach says he might even be starting quarterback next season. Your father and I are just thrilled. You know how much Tyler has struggled with finding his place, poor thing. This is such a big moment for him." I pinched the bridge of my nose. "That's great for Tyler, Mom. I'm happy for him. But what does that have to do with Jennifer's graduation party?" "Well, we were thinking. It might be better if you didn't make such a big fuss about Jennifer right now. Tyler really deserves the spotlight for this achievement, don't you think? He's worked so hard, and you know how sensitive he can be. Jennifer is always succeeding at things. This is special for Tyler." I nearly dropped the phone. "Mom, are you seriously asking me not to celebrate my daughter becoming valedictorian?" "Not forever, dear. Just postpone it a bit. We're planning a special dinner for Tyler this weekend to celebrate. You should all come to that instead. Jennifer can talk about her school news there too, of course." The conversation continued for another few minutes, but I barely registered the words. My mother's message was clear. Jennifer's academic achievement, the culmination of years of hard work and dedication, was less important than Tyler making the football team. When I hung up, I sat in stunned silence for several minutes before going to find Amanda. She was in our kitchen, already looking up party venues on her laptop. Her smile faded as soon as she saw my face. What happened? I told her about the conversation with my mother. With each word, Amanda's expression shifted from confusion to disbelief to anger. They want us to what? Are they serious? This is her high school graduation. She's valedictorian. And they want us to downplay it for football tryouts? Starting quarterback, I corrected automatically, then shook my head at the absurdity of it. At least, that's what they're hoping for next season. This is unbelievable, Amanda said, closing her laptop with more force than necessary. Actually, no, it's completely believable coming from them. This is exactly the same thing they've always done. What neither of us realized was that Jennifer had come downstairs and was standing in the doorway. "What's wrong?" she asked, her voice small. "Did something happen with the party plans?" Amanda and I exchanged a look. We'd always been honest with Jennifer, but we'd tried to shield her from the worst of my parents' favoritism. Now, seeing her standing there in her graduation t-shirt that her friends had all signed, I couldn't bring myself to lie. "Your grandparents think we should postpone your celebration," I said carefully. "Tyler made the football team, and they're concerned about timing." Jennifer was quiet for a moment, processing. Then she nodded slowly. "Because his achievement matters more than mine. Like always." "No," Amanda said firmly. "Not to us. Never to us." "I know that, Mom." Jennifer gave a small smile that didn't reach her eyes. "I've always known where I stand with everyone. It's okay." But it wasn't okay. The resignation in my daughter's voice broke something inside me. She was 17, brilliant, kind, hardworking, and she had learned to expect that her grandparents would always prioritize her cousin. What kind of lesson was that? That night, after Jennifer went to bed, Amanda and I talked for hours about my parents, about the years of subtle and not-so-subtle favoritism, about what it was doing to Jennifer, and about what I needed to do next. "You need to talk to them," Amanda said finally. "Not over the phone, face to face. They need to understand this isn't acceptable." I nodded. "Tomorrow. I'll go see them tomorrow." The next morning, I called in to work and told them I needed a personal day. The 45-minute drive to my parents' house felt longer than usual. My mind kept cycling through all the things I wanted to say, all the years of hurt and disappointment I'd pushed down. My father answered the door, surprised to see me on a weekday. "Louis, weren't you supposed to be at work today?" "We need to talk, Dad. About Jennifer's graduation and what Mom said yesterday." His expression closed off immediately. "Your mother mentioned you called. Come on in. She's in the garden." My childhood home hadn't changed much over the years. The same furniture, the same photos on the walls. I noticed, not for the first time, how many of those photos featured Marcus or Tyler, and how few included Jennifer or me. We found my mother pruning her roses, a wide-brimmed hat shielding her from the spring Sunday. She looked up with a smile that faltered when she saw my expression. "Louis, is everything all right?" "No, Mom, everything is not all right." I took a deep breath. "I came to talk about Jennifer's graduation and what you said yesterday." My mother set down her gardening shears and sighed. "I was afraid you might have misunderstood me. Of course we're happy for Jennifer. She's always been such a smart girl. Then why would you ask us not to celebrate her achievement?" My father stepped in. "Now, no one said not to celebrate. We just think the timing needs to be considered. Tyler has finally found something he excels at. Jennifer has excelled at everything she's ever attempted," I countered. "She's worked incredibly hard for years. She's graduating at the top of her class. She's going to deliver the valedictorian speech. And you want us to downplay that because Tyler made the football team?" My mother removed her gardening gloves. "Louis, you're being dramatic. We're just asking for a little sensitivity. Tyler has always struggled in Jennifer's shadow. This is important for his self-esteem. In Jennifer's shadow, when have you ever put Jennifer first? When have you ever celebrated her achievements with even half the enthusiasm you show for everything Tyler does?" My parents exchanged glances. "That's simply not true," my father said firmly. "We love both our grandchildren equally." "Do you? Really? Because from where I'm standing, you've spent 17 years making it crystal clear that Tyler is the golden grandchild and Jennifer is an afterthought. That's unfair. my mother protested. We've always been there for Jennifer, too. Been there? You missed her science fair last year to attend Tyler's baseball game. You forgot her birthday 2 years ago but sent Tyler 3 packages for his. Last Christmas, you gave her a generic bookstore gift card, while Tyler got that gaming computer he'd been asking for. Each example seemed to land like a physical blow. My parents looked genuinely stunned, as if they'd never considered their behavior from this perspective. Those are just isolated incidents, my father said weakly. You're making it sound like a pattern. It is a pattern. It's the same pattern you established with Marcus and me, the golden child and the other one. The words were pouring out now, years of suppressed feelings finally finding release. Do you have any idea what that does to a child? To always feel like they're not quite good enough, not quite worth celebrating? My mother's face hardened. Now you're just being childish. We raised you both the best we could. It's not our fault if you've held on to some perceived slight all these years. Perceived slight? I laughed without humor. Mom, you literally just asked me not to celebrate my daughter's greatest academic achievement because it might overshadow your grandson making the junior varsity football team. That's not perceived. That's explicit favoritism. My father stepped forward, his jaw set. Look, Louis, we've already planned a celebration for Tyler this Saturday. We've invited the whole family, some of his teammates. We thought Jennifer could come too. Share her news there. That way everyone gets recognized. Let me get this straight. You want my daughter, the valedictorian, to sit at Tyler's football celebration and maybe get a quick, oh, by the way, Jennifer's valedictorian moment? That's your solution? You're making it sound worse than it is, my mother said. We just think it's a good opportunity for the whole family to celebrate together. Something inside me snapped. No, absolutely not. Jennifer deserves her own celebration, her own moment to shine. We're throwing her a graduation party, and it's going to be wonderful, with or without you. Now you're just being petty, my father said. This isn't a competition. You're right, it's not a competition. It's about recognizing my daughter's hard work and achievement with the celebration she deserves. My mother stood up straighter. Well, if that's your attitude, perhaps it would be better if we focused on Tyler's event this weekend. You can do whatever you want for Jennifer, of course. Of course, I echoed. Just like always. You focus on Tyler and Marcus, and I'll focus on my family. We are your family, my father said sternly. I looked at him, really looked at him, and saw for the first time how deeply entrenched the patterns were. They genuinely couldn't see what they were doing. No, Dad. Amanda and Jennifer are my family. They're the ones who see me, who value me, who celebrate my successes instead of comparing them to someone else's. You and Mom, you're just the people who raised me to believe I was never quite good enough. Louis, my mother gasped. How can you say such a thing? Because it's true. And I've spent 17 years making sure Jennifer never feels the way you made me feel. I will not let you do to her what you did to me. If that's how you feel, maybe you should leave, my father said coldly. Gladly. I turned toward the door, then paused. You know what the saddest part is? Jennifer is an extraordinary person. Brilliant, compassionate, hardworking, and you've been so focused on Tyler that you've barely noticed. You're missing out on knowing one of the most amazing people I've ever met. That's your loss, not hers. I walked out the door with my heart pounding and my hands shaking. As I got into my car, I saw my mother watching from the window, her expression unreadable. I started the engine and drove away, feeling simultaneously terrible and relieved, like I'd finally lanced a wound that had been festering for decades. On the drive home, I called Amanda. It's done, I said when she answered. I don't think they'll be coming to Jennifer's party. How did it go? She asked quietly. About as well as you'd expect. They don't see it. They don't understand what they've been doing all these years. I sighed deeply. I told them some hard truths. I doubt they'll forgive me anytime soon. Did it feel good? Telling them? I considered the question carefully. Yes and no. It hurt. But it also felt like, and freedom. Like I've finally stopped trying to earn their approval. I'm proud of you, Amanda said. Jennifer will be too. We're going to throw her the best graduation party anyone has ever seen, I promised. With or without my parents? Without, Amanda confirmed. Definitely without. The drive home from my parents' house was a blur. My hands gripped the steering wheel so tightly my knuckles turned white, and my mind raced with a strange mix of regret, anger, and unexpected relief. Had I really just walked away from my parents? Had I finally said all the things I'd been holding inside for decades? When I pulled into our driveway, Amanda was waiting on the porch. One look at my face and she knew. "That bad, huh?" she asked, wrapping her arms around me. "Worse. I basically told them they've been terrible grandparents and that Jennifer and you are my real family now." I leaned into her embrace. I think I just burned a 37-year bridge. Amanda led me inside. Maybe it needed burning. Jennifer was at her friend Caitlin's house studying, which gave Amanda and me time to talk everything through. I recounted the entire conversation, cringing at some parts, still angry at others. "What do we tell Jennifer?" I asked finally. "The truth," Amanda said simply. "She's 17, not 7. She knows more than we think about how her grandparents treat her compared to Tyler. She deserves to know that you stood up for her." When Jennifer came home that evening, we sat her down in the living room. I tried to be measured in how I explained things, not wanting to burden her with adult conflicts, but also not willing to sugarcoat the situation. "So basically," Jennifer summarized after I finished, "you told Grandma and Grandpa that they can't treat me like I'm less important than Tyler anymore, and they got mad?" "That's pretty much it, yes." She nodded thoughtfully. "And they're not coming to my graduation party?" "Probably not." "I'm sorry, sweetheart." To my surprise, Jennifer smiled. "Don't be. You know what this means? It means we can have the party we actually want, not the weird, formal thing Grandma would have expected." Amanda laughed. "She has a point. So we're really doing this?" I asked. "Planning a big celebration without my family?" "No," Jennifer said, taking my hand. "We're planning a big celebration with our family, the people who actually care about each other." And that's exactly what we did. Over the next 2 weeks, Amanda, Jennifer, and I threw ourselves into planning the most amazing graduation celebration possible. We rented a beautiful outdoor venue with a view of the lake. Amanda designed custom invitations. I handled the catering, making sure to include all of Jennifer's favorite foods. We hired a DJ, arranged for professional photography, and even planned a slideshow of Jennifer's journey from kindergarten to high school graduation. We invited Jennifer's friends, her teachers who had made special impacts on her education, Amanda's parents and siblings who had always treated Jennifer with genuine love and interest, my colleagues who had watched Jennifer grow up through stories and the occasional office visit, and neighbors who had been part of our lives for years. Conspicuously absent from the invitation list were my parents, Marcus, Sophia, and Tyler. "Should we at least invite Tyler?" Jennifer asked one night as we finalized the guest list. "It's not his fault his grandparents play favorites." I was touched by her compassion but shook my head. It would put him in an impossible position with his parents and grandparents. Maybe someday, but not right now while everything is still raw. The day of Jennifer's graduation arrived bright and clear. Despite everything that had happened, my parents did attend the ceremony itself. I spotted them in the audience, sitting far from where Amanda, her parents, and I had saved seats near the front. They didn't approach us before or after the ceremony. Jennifer's valedictorian speech brought tears to my eyes. She spoke about perseverance, about finding your own path even when others don't understand it, about the importance of surrounding yourself with people who believe in you. Without ever mentioning the family drama directly, she made it clear that she had learned to value herself regardless of others' validation. "Sometimes the hardest lesson to learn," she said toward the end of her speech, "is that you can't make everyone see your worth. Some people will never understand what makes you special, and that's okay. Find the ones who do, and hold them close." As she finished to enthusiastic applause, I caught my father watching with an unreadable expression. Our eyes met briefly across the crowded auditorium before he looked away. After the ceremony, we took photos with Jennifer in her cap and gown, then headed to the party venue to make final preparations before guests arrived. The celebration was everything we had hoped for and more. The venue looked stunning, decorated in Jennifer's favorite colors: The food was excellent, the music perfect for dancing. Most importantly, the room was filled with people who genuinely cared about Jennifer and wanted to celebrate her achievements. As the evening progressed, Jennifer was surrounded by friends and well-wishers. I watched from across the room as she laughed with her friends, accepted congratulations from her teachers, and danced with her grandfather, Amanda's father, who had always treated her with the unconditional love every grandchild deserves. Amanda sidled up next to me, slipping her arm through mine. "We did good," she said, nodding toward our daughter. "Look how happy she is." "We did," I agreed. "I just wish that your parents could have been part of this," Amanda finished for me. "No," I realized with surprise. "I wish they could see what they're missing. I wish they understood what real family support looks like." Later that night, after the last guests had left and we were cleaning up, Jennifer hugged me suddenly. "Thank you, Dad." "For what, sweetheart?" "For making me feel like I matter, like my achievements are worth celebrating." I hugged her back, throat tight with emotion. "You will always matter to me. Always." That night, Amanda posted photos of the celebration on social media. We didn't do it to be petty or to show off, but simply to commemorate a special day in our daughter's life. But I knew my parents and Marcus would see them. I wondered what they would think, seeing the joyful celebration they had chosen to miss. The summer passed in a blur of activity. Jennifer prepared for college, having been accepted to Cornell University with a substantial scholarship. Amanda's design business took on several new clients. I received a promotion at work. Life moved forward. Contact with my parents dwindled to occasional stilted phone calls on major holidays. They never mentioned the graduation party or our confrontation, acting as if nothing had happened. I didn't push the issue. Marcus didn't contact me at all. When Thanksgiving came around, we declined my parents' invitation and instead hosted Amanda's family at our home. Christmas was spent at a mountain cabin we rented, just the three of us, skiing and enjoying hot chocolate by the fire. It was the most peaceful holiday season I could remember. The shift in our family dynamic wasn't always easy. There were moments of doubt, times when I questioned whether I had made the right choice in walking away. But then I would look at Jennifer, confident, thriving, secure in the knowledge that she was valued, and know that protecting her from the toxic patterns of my childhood was worth whatever price I had to pay. Little did I know that the true consequences of my decision would only become clear a year later, when our carefully separated lives collided once again. The year following Jennifer's graduation was transformative for our family in ways I never could have anticipated. Without the constant undercurrent of trying to gain my parents' approval or managing their relationship with Jennifer, we found a new sense of freedom and purpose. Jennifer thrived at Cornell. She called or video chatted with us several times a week, excited about her classes, the friends she was making, and the research opportunity she'd secured with one of the university's leading professors in biochemistry. Her confidence grew with each passing month, no longer dimmed by comparisons to her cousin. "You know what's weird, Dad?" she said during one of our video calls in October. "I don't miss Grandma and Grandpa. Is that terrible of me?" "Not at all," I assured her. "Sometimes relationships that don't add positivity to your life are better kept at a distance." "I used to try so hard to make them notice me," she admitted, "to make them proud. Now I just focus on making myself proud. It's liberating." Her words resonated deeply with me because I was experiencing the same liberation. At work, I had always been competent and reliable, but somewhat reserved in meetings, hesitant to put myself forward too boldly. The pattern established in childhood, "Don't outshine Marcus, don't draw too much attention," had followed me into my professional life without my even realizing it. Now, freed from those invisible restraints, I found myself speaking up more, taking on leadership roles, proposing innovative solutions to problems. 6 months after Jennifer's graduation, I was offered a significant promotion to Director of Software Architecture, with a substantial salary increase and a team of 15 developers reporting to me. Amanda's business was flourishing too. She had begun specializing in branding for tech startups, a niche that perfectly complemented my industry connections. Her client list grew steadily, and she hired 2 junior designers to help manage the workload. The creative fulfillment she found in her work radiated through our home life. With our combined increased income, we decided to make some changes to our living situation. Our house, while comfortable, had been chosen primarily for the school district when Jennifer was young. Now, with Jennifer in college and our financial situation improved, we began looking for a property that better reflected our current life. We found it in April, almost exactly a year after the confrontation with my parents. A beautiful modern home on 2 acres of land, with floor-to-ceiling windows overlooking a wooded ravine, a gourmet kitchen for Amanda, who had discovered a passion for cooking during the pandemic, a dedicated office space for each of us, and most importantly, a sense of peace and sanctuary that we fell in love with immediately. "It's perfect," Amanda whispered as we stood on the back deck during our second viewing. "It feels like us." We made an offer that day. By June, we had sold our old house and moved into our new home. Jennifer came home from college for the summer and claimed the guest suite as her own, decorating it with a mix of her childhood keepsakes and new college memorabilia. "This house is amazing," she declared as she helped us unpack. "Tyler is going to flip when he sees it." I paused, a framed photo in my hands. Tyler? Why would Tyler see it? Jennifer looked suddenly uncomfortable. "Oh, I thought I mentioned. I've been texting with Tyler a bit. Just casual stuff. He's been having a rough time." This was news to me. What kind of rough time? Jennifer hesitated. "His grades aren't great. He's worried about not graduating on time, and Uncle Marcus lost his job again a few months ago. Apparently things are pretty tense at their house." I absorbed this information slowly. Despite everything, I felt a pang of sympathy for my nephew and brother. "How do you know all this?" "Tyler reached out to me on Instagram after I posted some pictures from Cornell. He seemed, I don't know, like he needed someone to talk to who wasn't wrapped up in all the family drama. I hope you're not mad." "Of course not," I assured her. "Tyler's a good kid. None of this is his fault." Through occasional updates from mutual friends and distant relatives, I had already heard bits and pieces about Marcus and his family. After Tyler's initial excitement about making the football team, things hadn't gone as planned. He rarely played in actual games, and his academic struggles had worsened to the point where summer school was mandatory if he wanted to graduate with his class. Marcus had indeed lost his job at the marketing firm where he'd been working for the past 2 years. There were rumors about missed deadlines and conflicts with management, though I didn't know the details. What I did know was that my parents had once again stepped in financially, just as they had done throughout Marcus's adult life. These snippets of information came to me through random channels: a chance encounter with my mother's friend at the grocery store, a conversation with a cousin at a wedding, an email from an old neighbor who still kept in touch with my parents. I never sought out this information, but I didn't turn away from it either. One afternoon in July, I received a rare call from my mother. Our conversations over the past year had been infrequent and surface level, neither of us addressing the elephant in the room. This call followed the same pattern until the very end. "Louis," she said just as I was about to make an excuse to hang up, "your father and I saw the pictures of your new house." Amanda had posted some photos on social media after we'd finished furnishing the main rooms. I hadn't thought about the fact that my parents would see them. "It looks very impressive," my mother continued when I didn't respond. "You must be doing well." There was an odd note in her voice I couldn't quite identify. Pride, resentment, regret, perhaps a mixture of all three. "We are," I said simply. "The business is good, and Amanda's company is taking off. Jennifer loves Cornell. We're very happy." A pause. "That's good. I'm glad to hear it." Another pause, longer this time. I waited, sensing she wanted to say more. "Marcus is having a difficult time right now," she finally said. "The economy, you know. It's been hard on his industry. It had always been like this. Any success I had was acknowledged briefly before the conversation turned to Marcus and his challenges. Some things never changed." "I'm sorry to hear that," I said, keeping my tone neutral. "I hope things improve for him soon." "Yes, well, he's looking at some promising opportunities. Your father's helping him network." "Of course he was. That's good, Louis." My mother's voice softened unexpectedly. Would you consider, that is, would it be possible for us to visit sometime? See your new home? Perhaps when Jennifer is there too. The request caught me off guard. In the years since our confrontation, my parents had never once suggested getting together. I'll need to think about that, Mom. Talk to Amanda and Jennifer. Of course, of course. She sounded disappointed but not surprised. Just, let us know. After hanging up, I sat in my new home office, looking out at the trees swaying in the summer breeze, and wondered what had prompted my mother's request. Was it genuine desire for reconciliation? Curiosity about our new life? Or something else entirely? I decided not to dwell on it. The past year had taught me the value of focusing on the positive relationships in my life rather than trying to fix the broken ones. Jennifer, Amanda, and I were thriving. That was what mattered. What I didn't realize then was that my mother's call was just the first tremor of a much larger, seismic shift that was about to rock the carefully reconstructed foundation of our family life. The unexpected encounter happened on a Saturday afternoon in late August, just a week before Jennifer was due to return to Cornell for her sophomore year. I had gone to the Westfield Mall to pick up a new laptop for Jennifer, a surprise gift to replace her aging machine before the new semester started. I was examining different models at the electronics store when a familiar voice behind me said, "Uncle Louie?" I turned to find Tyler standing there, taller than I remembered, his face a little leaner, looking startlingly like Marcus had at 19. Tyler. The surprise quickly gave way to genuine pleasure. Despite everything, I had always liked my nephew. "It's great to see you. How are you doing?" He shifted awkwardly from foot to foot. "I'm good. Just getting some stuff for school. Senior year, you know." "That's right. Big year ahead." I smiled at him, noting how he seemed simultaneously more mature and more uncertain than the last time I'd seen him. "How's the football going?" A flicker of something, disappointment, relief, crossed his face. "I quit the team, actually, last season. It wasn't what I thought it would be." This was news to me. "Oh? I'm sorry to hear that." Tyler shrugged. "Don't be. I wasn't very good, honestly. I only tried out because Dad and Grandpa wanted it so badly." He glanced around, then added in a lower voice, "Can we maybe grab a coffee or something? I've been wanting to talk to you." 20 minutes later, we were sitting in a quiet corner of the mall's coffee shop, Tyler with a frappuccino and me with a plain black coffee. "So," I said after a moment of awkward silence, "Jennifer mentioned you two have been texting." Tyler nodded, looking relieved at the conversation starter. "Yeah, she's been really cool. Helped me with some college application essays and stuff." He hesitated, then added, "She's like the smartest person I know." The simple acknowledgement of Jennifer's intelligence, spoken with such genuine admiration, warmed me immediately toward my nephew. "She mentioned you've had a tough year," I prompted gently. Tyler stared into his drink. "Yeah, it's been weird. Dad lost his job again. He and Mom fight all the time now. And Grandma and Grandpa are always at our house, talking about money and what Dad should do next." He looked up suddenly. "They compare me to Jennifer constantly now. It's like they flipped a switch or something." I blinked in surprise. "They compare you to Jennifer? How so?" "It's always, Jennifer got a scholarship, and Jennifer made the dean's list, and why can't you apply yourself like your cousin?" Tyler mimicked my mother's voice with startling accuracy. "It's like they decided she's the golden child now that she's at Cornell." I couldn't help the short, incredulous laugh that escaped me. "That's quite a change. Tell me about it." Tyler rolled his eyes. "The irony is, I always felt bad about how they treated Jennifer before. Like, I knew they favored me, and it was weird and uncomfortable. I didn't want to be the favorite. I just wanted to be me." His honesty struck me deeply. I had never considered how the favoritism might have affected Tyler, always assuming he enjoyed being the center of attention. "That must have been a difficult position for you," I said. "It is. I feel like I'm constantly disappointing everyone. Dad wants me to be this sports star. Grandpa wants me to be a man, whatever that means. Grandma wants me to be charming and popular. Now they all want me to be academically successful like Jennifer. He shook his head. I'm just me. I like computers and graphic design. I'm decent at school when it's subjects I care about. I suck at football. I smiled at his self-assessment. Nothing wrong with being yourself. That's what Jennifer said. She told me about how you guys moved and started this whole new life after the big fight with Grandma and Grandpa. Tyler looked at me with unexpected intensity. She said you're happier now. That you stopped trying to please people who couldn't be pleased. She's right, I admitted. It wasn't an easy decision, but it was the right one for us. Tyler nodded slowly. I've been thinking about that a lot lately. About making my own choices. He took a deep breath. I applied to the same college as Jennifer, for their digital arts program. I got in. Tyler, that's fantastic. I was genuinely thrilled for him. Have you told your parents? Your grandparents? His expression clouded. No. They all have their hearts set on me going to Dad's alma mater. State University, business degree, follow in his footsteps. He made air quotes around the last phrase. I don't know how to tell them I want something different. I thought about my own journey, about how long it had taken me to stand up for myself and my family. It's not easy to disappoint people you love, even when you know you're making the right choice for yourself. Exactly. Tyler looked relieved that I understood. Can I ask you something, Uncle Louie? Of course. Would it be okay if I came over sometime? To see your new house? Jennifer said. It's amazing, and I'd really like to. I don't know. See how you guys live, I guess. What it's like. The request touched me. You're welcome any time, Tyler. How about dinner this week? Jennifer's still home, and I know she'd love to see you. Tyler's face lit up. Really? That would be awesome. We arranged for him to come over on Thursday evening. As we parted ways, Tyler surprised me with a quick, awkward hug. Thanks, Uncle Louie, for talking to me like I'm an actual person with my own thoughts and stuff. I watched him walk away, marveling at the maturity and self-awareness he showed. Despite all the family drama, Tyler had grown into a thoughtful young man with his own mind. I felt a surge of pride in my nephew, followed quickly by sadness that his own father might never appreciate him for who he truly was. Thursday evening arrived and Tyler showed up at our new house promptly at 6, looking nervous but excited. Jennifer greeted him with an easy familiarity that suggested their text conversations had developed into a genuine friendship. Dude, wait until you see this place, she told him, linking her arm through his. The media room has the most insane sound system, and wait until you see the view from the back deck. I watched as Jennifer gave Tyler the grand tour, his expressions shifting from awe to excitement as he took in our new home. Amanda prepared her specialty pasta dish, and we all sat down to dinner together, conversation flowing naturally despite the complicated family dynamics. This is amazing, Mrs. Marshall, Tyler said to Amanda after his first bite. I don't think I've ever had pasta this good. Call me Amanda, please, and thank you. It's just a simple recipe I've tweaked over the years. Mom's being modest, Jennifer said. She's become a gourmet chef this past year. You should see what she can do with salmon. As dinner progressed, Tyler gradually relaxed, laughing at Jennifer's college stories and asking thoughtful questions about Amanda's design business and my work. It struck me how hungry he seemed for this kind of normal, supportive family interaction. We were just about to serve dessert when the doorbell rang. Amanda and I exchanged confused glances. We weren't expecting anyone else. I'll get it, I said, standing up from the table. When I opened the front door, Marcus was standing there, his face flushed with anger. Where is he? He demanded, pushing past me into the foyer. Where's my son? Marcus? What are you doing here? I asked, stunned by his sudden appearance. Tyler's car has GPS tracking. When he didn't come home after studying at the library, Marcus made sarcastic air quotes. I checked and found him here, at your house. He spat out the last words like an accusation. Tyler appeared in the hallway, Jennifer slightly behind him. Dad, what are you doing here? What am I doing here? Marcus's voice rose. What are you doing here? With them? He gestured wildly toward me. Amanda joined us in the hallway, her expression concerned but composed. Marcus, Tyler just came for dinner. Jennifer invited him. Marcus ignored her, focusing his anger on Tyler. Get your things. We're leaving. Now. Dad, come on. We're just having dinner. It's not a big deal. Not a big deal? Marcus laughed harshly. You're fraternizing with the enemy, and you think it's not a big deal? I stepped forward. Marcus, that's enough. There's no enemy here. Tyler is my nephew, and he's welcome in our home any time. Marcus turned to me, years of resentment blazing in his eyes. You think I don't know what you're doing? First, you turn our parents against me with your perfect daughter, and your perfect job, and your perfect house. Now you're trying to turn my son against me too? Nobody's turning anyone against you, I said, trying to keep my voice level. Tyler wanted to see our new house and have dinner with his cousin. That's all. That's all? Marcus stepped closer to me, pointing an accusatory finger. You cut off Mom and Dad because they dared to celebrate Tyler's achievement instead of Jennifer's, and now suddenly you're interested in being Uncle of the Year. I don't think so. That's not what happened, and you know it, I said firmly. Mom and Dad asked us not to celebrate Jennifer becoming valedictorian because it might overshadow Tyler making the football team. A team he didn't even want to be on, apparently. Marcus's head whipped toward Tyler. What is he talking about? Tyler stood straighter. I quit football last year, Dad. I told you I had a schedule conflict with advanced computer graphics. That was not exactly true. I just hated playing. You quit? Marcus looked genuinely shocked. But the coach said you had potential. Grandpa was so proud. I was terrible, and I was miserable, Tyler said bluntly. I only tried out because you and Grandpa wanted it so badly. It was never what I wanted. Marcus shook his head in disbelief. So what? Now you want to be like them? He gestured toward Jennifer and me. The brainiacs? The ones who think they're better than everyone else? Nobody thinks they're better than anyone, Amanda interjected. But we do value education and pursuing your genuine interests. My son is not going to become some elitist snob who looks down on his family, Marcus declared. Tyler stepped forward. Dad, I got accepted to Cornell for digital arts and design. I want to go there next year. The silence that followed was deafening. Marcus stared at his son as if he'd never seen him before. Cornell? Like? Her? He jerked his head toward Jennifer. Yes. Jennifer helped me with my application. I got a partial scholarship. Marcus's face contorted with a mixture of shock and betrayal. You applied to colleges without telling me? Behind my back? Because I knew you'd react exactly like this. Tyler shot back, his voice rising for the first time. You never ask what I want. It's always about what you want for me, or what Grandpa wants, or what will make the family look good. I have sacrificed everything for you, Marcus shouted. Everything. And this is how you repay me? By sneaking around with them? He gestured wildly toward us again. They're family too, Dad, Tyler said quietly. And they actually listen to me. They ask questions about what I want instead of just telling me who I should be. Marcus turned to me, his face twisted with rage and something else. Pain, perhaps, or fear. This is your doing. You've always been jealous of me. Always. Mom and Dad loved me more, and you couldn't handle it. So now you're trying to steal my son. The raw admission, Mom and Dad loved me more, hung in the air between us. For the first time, Marcus had acknowledged the favoritism explicitly, confirming what I had felt my entire life. Nobody's stealing anyone, I said quietly. Tyler reached out to Jennifer. They formed their own connection. And yes, he's welcome in our home, but not to spite you. Because he's family, and we care about him. Marcus laughed bitterly. Care about him? You've barely spoken to him in a year. That was your choice, not mine, I reminded him. You sided with Mom and Dad. You made it clear where your loyalties were. My loyalties? Marcus's voice rose again. What about your loyalties? You abandoned the family the minute things didn't go your way. I protected my daughter from the same favoritism that damaged our relationship growing up. I corrected him. I chose to break a toxic cycle rather than perpetuate it. Marcus fell silent, his breathing heavy, his hands clenched at his sides. Then, in a quieter voice laced with bitterness, he said, You always think you're so much better than me. With your fancy job and your perfect family, you have no idea what it's like to struggle, to fail, to disappoint people who believed in you. In that moment, I saw my brother clearly, not as the golden child who had everything handed to him, but as a man crushed under the weight of expectations he could never fulfill, the favorite son who had to keep proving he deserved that status, the successful child who wasn't allowed to fail. "You're right," I said softly. "I don't know what that's like, because nobody ever expected me to be anything special. Nobody put that pressure on me." Our eyes met, and for a brief moment, I thought I saw understanding pass between us, the recognition that we had both been damaged by our parents' uneven love, just in different ways. The moment passed quickly. Marcus squared his shoulders. "Tyler, car, now." Tyler looked torn, glancing between his father and us. "Dad, please, can't we just talk about this?" "There's nothing to talk about. You lied to me. You went behind my back. You betrayed your family." "You're my family," Tyler said, "but so are they. And I'm going to Cornell next year, whether you support that decision or not." Marcus stared at his son for a long, tense moment. Then, without another word, he turned and walked out the door, slamming it behind him. Tyler stood frozen, his face pale. "I'm sorry," he whispered. "I didn't mean for this to happen." Jennifer put her arm around her cousin's shoulders. "It's not your fault. He'll calm down eventually." "I should go," Tyler said, though he made no move toward the door. "He's my ride." "I'll drive you home," I offered. "Or you can stay here tonight if you'd prefer. We have plenty of room." Tyler looked genuinely tempted by the offer, but shook his head. "I should go home. Face the music." He attempted a weak smile. "Thanks for dinner, though. It was nice to feel normal for a little while." As I drove Tyler home later that evening, he was quiet, lost in thought. Just before we reached his house, he turned to me. "Uncle Louis?" "Yes? How did you do it?" "Walk away from Grandma and Grandpa when they were being unfair." I considered the question carefully. I realized that staying in a situation that was hurting my family wasn't loyalty. It was enabling behavior that would continue to cause pain. Sometimes the bravest thing you can do is create boundaries, even when it hurts. Tyler nodded slowly. "I think I'm going to need to do that too." As he got out of the car, I called after him. "Tyler, remember you always have a place with us if you need it." He smiled, a small, sad smile, and nodded once before walking toward his house, where Marcus stood silhouetted in the doorway, waiting. Driving home, I realized that the family dynamics I thought I had escaped by walking away had simply transformed into something new. And whether I wanted it or not, I was now at the center of a family revolution that had been decades in the making. The fallout from the confrontation with Marcus was swift and far-reaching. The day after I drove Tyler home, my mother called, her voice tight with controlled anger. "What exactly do you think you're doing, Louis?" she demanded without preamble. "Hello to you too, Mom," I replied, keeping my tone neutral. "I assume Marcus called you." "Of course he called us. He's devastated. First you turn your back on the family, and now you're trying to influence Tyler against his father?" I took a deep breath. Tyler reached out to Jennifer. They've become friends. He asked to see our new house, so we invited him for dinner. That's the whole story. "And the Cornell application? Was that your idea too?" "No, that was entirely Tyler's decision. Jennifer helped him with the application because he asked her to." My mother made a disbelieving noise. Tyler has always been set to follow in his father's footsteps. This sudden interest in art school came out of nowhere. "Did you ever actually ask Tyler what he wanted?" I countered. "Or did you all just assume he shared Marcus's dreams?" The silence that followed told me everything I needed to know. "Look, Mom," I continued more gently. "Tyler is a smart, thoughtful young man with his own interests and aspirations. He loves computers and digital design. He got into a prestigious university program on his own merits. Isn't that something worth celebrating?" Another silence. Then, "We always supported your choices, Louis. I don't understand why you're doing this to your brother." The revisionist history was so blatant I almost laughed. "Mom, that's simply not true. You and Dad made it very clear throughout my childhood that my choices, my achievements, and eventually my child were less important than Marcus's. I've accepted that I can't change your perspective, but Tyler deserves the chance to pursue his own path without guilt or manipulation. We're coming to visit, my mother announced abruptly. Your father and I. This weekend. It's time we saw this new house of yours and had a proper conversation. The declaration caught me off guard. This weekend? Saturday. We'll be there at 1 o'clock. Please make sure Jennifer is home. She hung up before I could respond. Amanda was supportive but concerned when I told her about the impending visit. Are you sure you want to do this? The last time you confronted them directly, it didn't go well. I'm not looking for confrontation, I assured her. But maybe it's time for an honest conversation. They've never even seen our new home. And you're okay with that? After everything they've done? I considered the question carefully. I'm not expecting miracles. But Tyler's situation has made me realize something. Walking away solved some problems, but it created others. I don't want him caught in the middle of a family civil war. Jennifer was surprisingly enthusiastic about her grandparents' visit. I think it's good, she said when I told her. They should see that we're doing great without their approval. Plus, I kind of miss Grandpa's terrible jokes. Saturday arrived bright and clear. Amanda stress-cleaned the already immaculate house while I prepared a simple lunch. Jennifer arranged fresh flowers in the entryway and living room. None of us spoke about our expectations for the visit, but there was a palpable tension in the air. At precisely 1 o'clock, the doorbell rang. My parents stood on the doorstep, looking smaller and older than I remembered. My father held a gift bag awkwardly in one hand. Mom, Dad, I greeted them, stepping back to let them in. Welcome to our home. My mother's eyes widened as she took in the soaring ceilings of the entryway, the wall of windows overlooking the ravine, the tasteful, comfortable furnishings that reflected Amanda's design sensibility. This is quite impressive, she said, the same note of complicated emotion in her voice that I'd heard during our phone call months earlier. Thank you. We love it here. I led them into the living room where Amanda and Jennifer were waiting. The initial greetings were stiff but polite. Jennifer hugged both grandparents. Amanda shook their hands, and we all sat down in the living room. My father handed the gift bag to Jennifer. Just a little something, he mumbled, for your college success. Jennifer opened it to find a beautiful leather-bound journal with her initials embossed on the cover. This is gorgeous, Grandpa. Thank you. Your grandmother picked it out, he said, though he looked pleased at her reaction. Thought it might be useful for a scholar like you. The acknowledgement of Jennifer as a scholar was small but significant. I caught Amanda's eye across the room, and she gave a tiny nod, noticing it too. After showing my parents around the house, my mother particularly impressed by the kitchen, my father by the home theater system, we sat down to lunch on the back deck overlooking the ravine. The conversation remained surface level. Updates on extended family members, questions about Jennifer's studies, comments about the unusually warm weather. It wasn't until we were having coffee after the meal that my father finally broached the subject we'd all been avoiding. Marcus tells us Tyler came to dinner here last week, he said, setting down his cup with deliberate care. Yes, he did, I confirmed. He and Jennifer have become good friends. And this business about Cornell, art school? My father's tone made it clear exactly what he thought of that idea. Jennifer spoke up before I could respond. Tyler's incredibly talented, Grandpa. His digital compositions are amazing. He showed me his portfolio, and it's genuinely impressive. But business school would give him so many more opportunities, my mother interjected. Marcus has connections, people who could help Tyler get established. The same connections that have helped Marcus stay employed? The words slipped out before I could stop them, sharper than I'd intended. My father's face hardened. Your brother has had some bad luck. The economy hasn't been kind to his industry. It's not bad luck when it happens over and over for 20 years, Amanda said quietly. And it's not the economy when everyone else in his field manages to keep a job. I suppose you think you're better than him, my mother said, her voice rising slightly. With your successful careers and your fancy house. I leaned forward. That's exactly the problem, Mom. Everything is always a comparison with you and Dad. Better, worse, more successful, less successful. Can't we just accept that Marcus and I are different people who made different choices and ended up with different lives? Of course you're different people, my father said dismissively. No one ever said otherwise. But you treated us very differently, I pressed. You still do. And now you're doing the same thing with Jennifer and Tyler. That's ridiculous, my mother protested. We love both of you, both of them. Jennifer cleared her throat. Grandma, do you remember my 16th birthday? My mother looked confused by the apparent change of subject. Of course, dear. We gave you that lovely necklace. No, Jennifer said gently. You forgot my 16th birthday entirely. You were at Tyler's baseball tournament. You called 3 days later. My mother's face flushed. That's not. We wouldn't have. And my science fair win in junior year? The one that got me the university summer program? You couldn't come because Tyler had a college visit that weekend. Well, that wasn't important. I'm not saying this to make you feel bad, Jennifer continued, her voice kind but firm. I'm just pointing out that there's a clear pattern. And now that I'm at Cornell, suddenly I'm worth noticing. Suddenly my achievements matter. Because they fit into a narrative you understand. Prestigious university, academic success. My father shifted uncomfortably in his seat. We've always been proud of you, Jennifer. I know you have, in your way. But you've never celebrated me the way you celebrated Tyler. Not until recently. And that's confusing for both of us. My parents exchanged glances, a silent communication passing between them. My mother looked genuinely troubled, perhaps for the first time truly hearing what we were saying. We never meant to make either of you feel less important, she said finally, looking from Jennifer to me. We just thought Marcus needed more support. He wasn't as naturally capable as you were, Louis. And Tyler struggled where Jennifer didn't. So you overcompensated, I suggested, to the point where your support for them became dismissal of us. My father looked down at his hands. We thought we were doing the right thing, he said quietly, giving more attention to the child who needed it more. But both children need attention, Amanda pointed out. Both need celebration and support, just in different ways, for different things. A heavy silence fell over the deck. Birds called in the ravine below us. The breeze rustled through the trees. It felt like a pivotal moment, though I wasn't sure exactly what was shifting. Tyler's unhappy, my mother said suddenly. Marcus is forcing him to apply to state, threatening to withhold support if he doesn't. They're fighting constantly. Sophia called me in tears last night. The admission surprised me. Tyler got a scholarship to Cornell. Not a full ride, but substantial. He wouldn't need Marcus's financial support if... I trailed off, seeing the implication dawn on my parents' faces. If we helped him instead, my father finished. I'm not suggesting you should, I clarified quickly. That's entirely your decision. I'm just pointing out that Tyler has options that don't involve being forced into a path he doesn't want. My mother looked thoughtful. He's really talented? At this digital art thing? Extremely, Jennifer confirmed. He could have a real career in it. The program at Cornell is one of the best in the country. My parents exchanged another look, some unspoken communication passing between them. We should talk to Tyler directly, my father decided. Hear from him what he wants. I think that's a wonderful idea, Amanda said warmly. He deserves to have his voice heard. As the conversation moved on to more neutral topics, I felt a subtle shift in the atmosphere. Not a complete transformation. Decades of established patterns don't change in an afternoon, but a crack in the foundation, a willingness to at least consider a different perspective. When my parents left a few hours later, my mother hugged me tentatively. Your home is beautiful, Louis. You've built a good life here. Thank you, Mom. That means a lot. We'd like to visit more often, if that's all right. Get to know Jennifer better before she goes back to school. You're always welcome here, I told her, and was surprised to realize I meant it. The months that followed brought gradual, imperfect change. My parents began making real efforts to connect with Jennifer, calling her regularly at college, sending care packages, showing genuine interest in her studies. They had several long conversations with Tyler, and while they didn't completely abandon their hope that he would follow a more traditional path, They agreed to help supplement his scholarship at Cornell if that was truly what he wanted. Marcus was a harder case. The revelation that our parents were willing to support Tyler's art school ambitions sent him into a rage that resulted in 3 weeks of silence. When he finally resurfaced, it was with a grudging acceptance that he couldn't control his son's decisions, though he made it clear he thought Tyler was making a mistake. By the time Jennifer's sophomore family weekend rolled around in October, Tyler had started his freshman year at Cornell. My parents attended the weekend, as did Amanda and I. Marcus and Sophia declined, but their absence didn't cast the shadow it might have once. Watching Jennifer proudly show her grandparents around campus, seeing Tyler join us for dinner, excited about his classes and new friends, I felt a profound sense of peace. Not because everything was perfect, it wasn't, and likely never would be, but because I had learned to define family on my own terms. Standing on the Cornell campus that bright fall day, I thought back to that night after Jennifer's graduation announcement, when I had finally walked away from patterns that had hurt us for too long. It hadn't been an ending, as I'd thought then, but a beginning. The beginning of building something healthier, something truer to who we really were. "Penny for your thoughts," Amanda said, slipping her hand into mine as we watched Jennifer, Tyler, and my parents laughing together by the campus lake. "I was just thinking that sometimes the hardest boundaries to draw are the ones that ultimately create the most freedom," I replied. "For everyone." She squeezed my hand. "Worth every difficult moment?" I nodded, watching my daughter's confident smile, my nephew's newfound enthusiasm, even my parents' tentative steps toward a more balanced relationship with all their family members. "Worth every moment," I confirmed. "Have you ever had to walk away from family expectations to build the life you truly wanted? I'd love to hear your stories in the comments below. Sometimes the hardest choices lead to the greatest growth. If this story resonated with you, please hit that subscribe button and share it with someone who might need to hear that it's okay to create healthy boundaries. Thank you for being part of this journey with me. And remember, true family supports your wings, not just your roots.